Hello and welcome everybody to day 4 of the trading marathon here on this channel. My name is Daniel, and the topic of today's video is the concept of failing and how to handle failure. And it's probably one of the most important videos of the whole trading marathon, since failure will be an unavoidable part of your journey to a successful trader. I can promise you that much. I can also show you a screenshot where I asked ChatGPT what's the likelihood of someone becoming a successful trader and build himself up from zero to nothing without any single failure. It's kind of like the likelihood is 0.0001%. I show you the screenshot. So you need to introduce yourself to the concept or to the fact that failure will be absolutely on the way or on your journey to become a successful trader. Maybe you ask yourself how to handle that, or maybe you have handled failure in other situations or parts of your life, but in trading there is actually a very special concept you need to understand after you fail, because it's such a necessary part of the process for you to fail and to get better. But I wrote down some very important points about this topic that I want to share with you here in this video. And the first of those is, like the first one I kind of already brought across, the chance of you not failing on your path to a successful trader is so unlikely that you kind of should cross it out of your mind that will happen. So you need to introduce yourself to the sure likelihood that failure will be a substantial part of your journey, and you will need to fail right. You will need to master failure. You will need to fail in such a way that gives you, after this failure happens, still the option, still the possibility to continue down this path, get better, learn and apply again, and get better in the process of learning and failing and learning and applying again, you know? And that's kind of the art in this whole process that we are talking about. And that's why tomorrow's video will be kind of like connected to these ones, because tomorrow we will talk about compensatory behavior, because many people like to overcompensate things after they failed. But this is kind of such a big topic that we will need to talk about that tomorrow. In today's video, we need to understand the concept that failure is a substantial part of the journey, and every single winner has failed. I've never met any single person in whatever country I ever was who has built anything in life, made anything great in life, and said he never failed before that. I've never met any single body like that. Never met any single one like that. And I guess that's the beautiful thing in life, because after you failed, you will appreciate the fact that you didn't fail anymore even more, because the beautiful thing on winning is that you are not losing anymore. So it can only be beautiful after you lost before. Yeah, so that's also a very important mind concept when it comes to failure. But in trading especially, you need to understand that every single trade in the beginning phase, I'm not talking after 7 years of trading, you know, like then you should already learn the lessons. But when you're a beginner trader, every single trade makes you richer. Either you win money or you win experience. It is beautiful as a beginner, okay? So you always need to have a positive mindset about losing a trade, because sometimes even though you take a setup which is fully, you know, like legit, if the setup is on your side, the likelihood is on your side, the abilities, probabilities are on your side, but still you lose, and that happens also sometimes. And I mean, we will also talk about patience later, but in trading it's kind of like you need to have something that's called aggressive patience. Because when people hear patience, they somehow believe it means kick your feet up the chair, wait, do nothing, and it will just happen. But that's absolutely not how everything works. Aggressive patience means you need to show up every single day, do your work in the best possible way that you can do it, and you need to do it for as long as you can possibly do it, and still it's going to take time. I can promise you that much. And trading is the same. You cannot outwork time. Time is kind of like an essential part of this process, and you need to accept failure in this process, and you will need to accept the fact that this failure will cost you time, and you cannot kind of like overcompensate this failure with some extra behavior which is not your part of your initial plan to gain back some of those time. It's not how that works. You really need to have aggressive patience after failing, because everybody is patient when all things are going well, you know? Everybody is patient when he has 20 million in the bank and chills on a yacht. But not everybody is patient when they have something to pay, when they have some wishes, when they have some thoughts, when they have something that they want to achieve and they are still not there and they want to be there and they have this pressuring thought. That's when people are not patient. But in trading, you kind of like, that's the exact moment that counts, where you need to have this aggressive patience, where you need to show up, do your work, follow your plan, and you will fail in this plan, absolutely, or your plan will fail at some point, and you still need to calmly show up and execute whatever your strategy says without, you know, like overreacting to any of the past failures or take them too big. And I want to, last but not least, in this video about failure, I want to introduce you to a very interesting concept that I actually saw from Alex Hormozi, which applies to trading extremely well. After a loss, there are actually 3 things you can and you should work on to improve your overall trading performance in the future. And I guess the concept is very simple. It's, first of all, the frequency of which those events are occurring, those events that lead to those kind of losses. That's why you need to channel them down to find out what is actually causing this event of loss, or what is actually causing this special event or this situation to occur. And then you should reduce the frequency of this happening in the best case. So that's the first thing you can work on. The second thing is the damage that is caused by this special event or of this event of losing. You can see the first thing is the frequency of these events happening. The second thing is the amount, the size of the loss you take when a certain event occurs. So whatever it is, rage trading, over trading, you getting angry, you getting on drugs, drunk, whatever it is that causes your loss. The size of the loss you have when this event occurs is a very important fact. And the third thing you need to work on is the time you need to recover after a certain loss or after a certain event is happening. Let's round this all over to trading. When you notice that you are the type of person who has a certain behavior, a certain characteristics that causes your losses in a certain frequency, and you notice it clear as day in your trading journal that this is the kind of thing that makes your trading performance any weaker than you want it to be, then first of all, identify this behavior. Second of all, cut down the frequency of this event happening. Third of all, cut down the amount of money you lose when you do this certain type of behavior, or at least try to work on it, you know, at least try to fight against it, try to limit yourself in those 2 ways. And third of all, you need to work on the time you need to recover after that situation happens. So after you took a loss and you notice that you are actually in a rage mode, or actually you are pissed off, then you are supposed to take some time off. Don't get me wrong. You are not supposed to trade after you just hit a heavy loss and you are mad as fuck, you know. You are supposed to take a step back. It's a very huge difference if someone just takes 1-2 days off, you know, and then comes back and learns and applies again, or if somebody in the rage mode lost all of his money and then needs 1 month to get the next part of his salary, and then rages it again in the chart, loses it again, and needs to take 1 month off again, because in that way it will take you a very long time until you come to the point of trader you want, or until you become the kind of trader you want to be. So you really need to consider at every single move, at every single button you press, that whatever goes wrong, you cannot take the kind of risk that throws you off your path for 1 month until your next salary arrives. So play it in a certain way that you can come back every single day, whatever happened, you know, after a lot. You never open a trade with all your money, don't set a stop loss and go away, and that's it. Never do that. Never let it come to this moment, because then in the worst case, you come back the next day, you have no more money and you cannot continue in any way to trade. So don't let that happen at all, because that's the kind of mistake that will need a long time for you to recover. You need to fail, you need to accept the fact that you're failing, and failure will be part of the process, but you cannot let this failure throw you completely off your path. You need to have kind of like a certain risk tolerance that you are always willing to take, and you need to take those risks, but those risks cannot exaggerate the amount of of loss you can actually take, you know. If you lose every single time all you have, it's one mistake and you're gone. That cannot be your plan. Your plan needs to kind of like include the events of happening and still be profitable, and you still need to be willing and able to push forward even though that's happening. So that's the very important thing we're dealing here with, and that's the kind of big difference that separates trading from most of the other jobs. You know, like for doctors, it's not like they have to calibrate losses into their daily activity, because if a doctor already expects to make mistakes, then people are dying. It's not like that, you know. But for trader, it's all a game of probabilities, and you will, with an incredibly high probability, have losses. Like every trader has losses, and you need to accept them, and you need to embrace them, and you need to learn from them and apply again after them, and not let them throw you off the path, because the only way you can really lose in the long term is if you quit. So don't let that happen. Tomorrow we are talking about overcompensatory behavior, which is tightly connected to losing, because many people tend after a loss to compensate this loss with some other behavior, but we are talking about that tomorrow. Before we end this video, here is the 4th half marathon of myself on the 4th of June, and we see each other in the next video tomorrow on day 5. Ciao, ciao.